left off 184. We're speaking about reflecting on various aspects of existence, of creation, Hashem's creation, whether it's the animals, the different species, the plants, and what you can do with the plants. He says, the mark of wisdom which manifests, he says, in sciences, crafts, and industries, ubapulos, asher ichino nabori yisborch l'odom la'shlomes takonoso v'sibas teres chukov, which Hashem had put in place, the Creator put in place for the human being to perfect and bring to completion his own self and provide sustenance, teref chuko shatolosav hakolos hamizbodedos, and other benefits in general and in particular. It's like the Chovos HaLevavos writes elsewhere, you know, God creates an existence. So now you need doctors, you need architects, you need masons, you need, the Gemara says in Bava Basra that fortune is the one who's a perfumer, and woe to the person who's a tanner. Because a tanner, he has to be involved with all the chemicals, which is really dog waste. That's how you tan the hides. The Gemara speaks about a bursiki. It's called a bursiki, that if a woman's husband died childless, and the brother-in-law is a bursiki. So this person, as much as he bathes, you can never get the stench out of his, it's like ingrained in the pores of his skin. She can't go near the man. Could you imagine what kind of life she'd live? So in that case, the Beis Din convinces the brother-in-law to give a chalitza, because it's not going to work out. No, if the husband's a tanner, it's something else. But if initially the brother, you know, the surviving brother's a tanner, because it says, the ways of Torah are pleasant. The Beis Din will not allow this to happen, because she's going to live a life she'll be tortured for the rest of her life, being in this type of environment with this kind of person. Therefore, they convince the person, you must release her with chalitza. Okay? The world needs, but if you can become a perfumer, or you can become something, why should you be a tanner? Or if you can be this, why should you be that? And if you can be a doctor, why should you be an accountant? The answer is the world needs everything. You can't have a world unless the various industries and responsibilities are shared among humanity. So what does Hashem do? A certain person, he has an affinity for this. Person has an interest in that. And he puts that interest in the person that he should pursue that and develop that, and he's endowed with certain abilities in that particular field. And among all humanity, together, we have a complete existence. That's the same thing. It's amazing. Whatever you need, people excel in medicine, in science, in this or what, and it's amazing how God created this existence. There's nothing that's lacking in terms of all the needs of existence are being addressed and being pursued. He says, who put wisdom in the innermost parts, or gave understanding to the heart? See what he says. It's not simple. We say the bracha, so there are two interpretations. One interpretation of Ramos says in Arabic, sechvi is a rooster. Right? When the rooster crows, that's lafchin benyo veloilo. That's how you discern between night and day. God created a creature that the moment it senses dawn is coming, it starts crowing. So man should know to differentiate, to discern between night and day. The other is no la sechvi vino. Sechvi is referring to the heart, a sense. A man is given certain senses and understandings, therefore we're able to make these levels of discernments. Hashem endows chokhmah from his mouth, is das, discretion, tfuna, and insight and understanding. Vashvius simna chokhmah nira bekfiyas haTorah v'achukim lavor habore aleh. Interesting. You know, you read about the ancient pagan religions, the way they served the deities. You know, the Torah says you should not behave Chovos HaGoyim, like the abominations of what they did in terms of every perverted, corrupted type of behavior. That's how they worshiped the deities. The ancient civilizations. Even, and everything had to do with, I mean, really bad. I'm not even talking about human sacrifice. We're talking about, no, we're talking about perverted sexual behavior. All this kind, everything. That's what it was. Animals, bestiality, everything under the sun. How did they come up with all this? There's no question. Because a person naturally gravitates to this, and there's nothing that you can't somehow justify and establish and say, well, this is the way we're going to serve. Because this is the highest level of service. Right? I mean, with the Greeks, what did they worship? They worshiped nature. The Greeks. Everything was desire and lust, and that's the beauty. That was their religion. They worshiped that on the most extreme level. But it's all abomination. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us a Torah, how to live, a prescription with statutes, rational laws that we don't understand, but it all brings us to a level of what? A refinement, advancement, spirituality. It's a whole different understanding. Hashem doesn't leave it up to us. You figure it out. Hanir b'kfiyas haTorah v'achukim lavod b'hem habor yis'aleh. La'agia b'hem hashoket aleim la'nos olam hazeh miyad. That the one who applies himself diligently, he's able to come on to all the benefits of this world immediately. V'ligmo la'olam haba ba'achris. Right? So you have the benefits of this world, and you have the benefits of the world to come. Right? We read in the Vorim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that a Jew, if he lives according to the Torah, the Ro Amaretz Kishem Hashem Nikro Alecho. When they see the Jew wearing tefillin, they'll see the name of God upon you, and they can say Ki Chochmaschem Beinaschem Leini Hagoyim. This is your wisdom, and this is your bina. The Goyim will even appreciate the understanding and the values and the wisdom of the Jew. What is the Goy? What the Goy understands, the Gemara understands. The non-Jew will revere the Jew because he's amazed of what the Jew knows, what the Jew doesn't know. You know, the Gemara in Chelub. The Gemara says that there was this Jew was taken captive by someone, by an Arab, and he was looking. He had him, and they were traveling, and he notices the camel who had traveled the road had done it had relieved itself on one side of the road, not in the middle of the road. And then he saw a certain liquid which was dripping, and it formed a certain kind of mark on the sand. Different things. So the one who was his captor says to him, "It's amazing." He says, "No problem." Says the camel that was walking was blind in one eye, so therefore when it did its function, it relieved itself, was off to one side because it can only see one side. So it went off to one side. And the reason why the liquid didn't absorb into the ground is because it's carrying wine in flasks, and they're leaking, so the wine, when it absorbs different than oil. And whatever he told him, so after they caught up with the caravan, and sure enough, the camel was blind, and what was leaking was wine or oil, whatever it was, and he was like amazed. And this Jew, what the Jew knows, and he says, "Blessed is the God of Israel that He created such people." He was like amazed what the Jew knew, which he didn't even have an inkling, what it was about, even though that's not the Torah. And it says, and He released him. Although he was his captor, He released him, and He let him go free because he was amazed at his wisdom. Okay? But the Jew comes upon many things, not because that's in the Torah, but if a person has a certain spiritualization, a certain way that he lives, and he pays attention to many things, we pay attention to things that the world doesn't pay attention to. You know, it's interesting if you ever read about a little bit of Jewish history, when Jews, they had no choice but to smuggle. In Europe, you know, the law of Dina Malchus Dina only applies if you're not discriminated against. But if the people are discriminated to a point where it's not possible to survive, then the laws of Dina Malchus Dina don't apply. But if the Jew would be caught smuggling, you know, he'd be put to death. So they would come up, when they would write letters or anything, you know, they would use terminologies from the Gemara, and it would be very complicated. You know, if Ruvain did this and Shimon did that and this and that, like built cases which you couldn't understand. The intricacies and the subtleties of the cases, and they understood exactly what was being communicated, right? The non-Jew couldn't even follow it because he doesn't have any background in that type of logic or that type of thinking. And this helped. But again, this ki chochmasum binaschem meini agoyim. That's what it is. To be continued.
Old man Rothschild had 5 sons, and he wrote letters to them in German, in proper German, using Hebrew. And when you read it, you can't read what it says. When you read it, you can't read it. And when you read German, you have no idea what it is. And it's not exactly the same.
Yeah.
He used
Yeah, but there is nothing wrong with it. Yeah. In Bavaria, you read about, no, Shylock's something else. Jews weren't permitted in any guild, you know that. So the only thing was left them was money lending. So they would borrow from them, and then they wouldn't pay. And they'd have a pogrom afterwards. That's how they settled the debt. So the Jews is Shylock. What do you mean? You've been borrowing all along, you agreed to pay the interest, and when it comes to collect, well, you Jews, you know, you're cruel. But that was the original agreement. You take our money, you don't pay for it. That's the anti-Semitism. You know, the Jews, they go to medical school, and they're the best doctors, and they put the goyim can't live up to them. You see what the Jews are doing to us? They're destroying our society. They're putting everybody out of work. So you could have a play also. You could write, Shakespeare could write something about this.